Good afternoon and welcome everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to today's event. My name is Daniel Cairns and I'm the Head of Enrolments here at Fourth Rev, working in true collaboration with LSE Online on the LSE Digital Marketing Strategy and Analytics Career Accelerator. Thank you and good on you for investing your time in what is going to be a very, very informative session. It's going to give you everything that you need to decide if the program is right for you, and if, in the way it is termed, is going to give you the opportunity of accelerating your career with the skills that are required to succeed in marketing strategy and analytics today. It is about you, so please do engage with the expert panel that we have, but also in doing so, place your questions in the Q&A function at the bottom there. We'll be using the chat either for introductions. I might have a question or two, and we'll certainly be posting some assets for you via links in the chat. So questions in the Q&A, and we welcome as many as possible. I'll get to them and reserve some time for them at the end as well. But well done. We'll make it informative and at times lighthearted if we can, but it's all about you and what it is that you need to know about making this decision for you as well. Moving on to the agenda, we'll go over some market trends. We'll obviously hear from our panel. We'll give an overview of the program. We'll get a career outcome example and next steps and that Q&A. But what we'd like to start with first is a poll in terms of which skills gap worries you most? Is it the data analytics and measurement component of digital marketing? Is it the strategy campaign planning? Is it AI and marketing automations, or is it audience targeting and segmentation? That will help us obviously dive deeper into what is most of concern for yourself, or the areas in which you'd like to most focus on, as the course covers all. We'll give that poll a minute or two and we'll get the results of that. What I might do in the meantime is just bring up some additional information as well. If everyone's put that in, we'll see how the poll has gone before I introduce the panel. Okay, so data analytics and measurement, by far the most popular and not unexpected. It's often the part of digital marketing that is not only most valuable but most missed in many programs. The strategic campaign and planning had 13%, AI and automations, but audience targeting and segmentation was lower on the list. So we'll certainly dive well into the analytical and measurement aspect, along with the other benefits of the program. Thank you for your participation in the poll. We might have another one later on, but that gives us a great amount of information to work with. Just a reminder, questions in the Q&A, comments or assets in the chat. But now it gives me great pleasure to welcome our panel. It's always one of my favourite parts of the introduction phase, because we get to hear from some amazing people. I'm going to be a gentleman and ask that Jill go first. Welcome, Aaron, Johnny and Jill. Thank you, guys. Great to see you, Jill, again. I know it's not without challenge at times with all those stairs behind you, but we won't go into that. But thank you for your time. Firstly, can we get an overview from yourself about the Jill story briefly for the audience?
For sure, Daniel, thank you so much for inviting me along here today. It's probably the best bit of my job, which is getting to know our new learners. So yeah, my name's Jill Nurse. I'm the head facilitator on this program. I work for LSE. I've been working for LSE for the past 17 years, after probably another 15 years spent in industry. So I'm one of these strange academics where I'm a practitioner turned to an academic. In fact, I was chatting with Johnny and Aaron earlier and mentioning that I myself took Chartered Institute of Marketing diploma exams many years ago. And also at the beginning of my academic career, I spent some time helping to develop, design and examine some of the diploma programs. So I'm a really keen advocate of experiential learning, if you like, of being in the workplace, coming into a classroom, playing around with concepts and ideas and then taking them back into the marketplace, taking them back into the workplace, and then starting to really play around with those concepts, testing how they work in practice, experimenting with them, critiquing them to some degree. So, one of the real magical parts of this program is working with other people that are working in all different kind of environments, industries, and probably territories all over the world, and really gaining some insights as to how things work in their regions. So super excited to be here. I'm very involved in the program. I work on assessing the program, helping to continually improve the program. So yeah, hopefully I can answer any of your questions, but congratulations for being here on this first step. Really excited to meet you.
Exactly. Thanks, Jill. That was brilliant. Aaron, I'll go to you next. Welcome and thank you for your time.
No, thank you, Daniel. Appreciate the introduction, and really, really happy to be here. Thank you all for taking the time. I am working for the CIM, and I work as a client relationship manager. I've been here for a long time now. I've actually into my second stint working for the organisation, having kind of gone out there in the world, studied myself, and tried marketing firsthand. But my main role at the moment is to work with brands and organisations to help get them doing better marketing and better things through the empowerment of their people. So we'll use a mix of CIM solutions like membership, like training, like qualifications to really make big, grand changes within these household brands. And I think where I bring a bit of value to the call is having worked here so long, I've kind of worked across all the different areas and facets of CIM. And with that comes some really great stories. Having dealt with people that have left university looking to make their first move into marketing, I've maybe helped them get onto the right course or get membership. And with the time I've been here, I've seen their growth. I've seen them move up through the ranks, and some of them holding some really, really senior roles now, which is really rewarding. So it aligns nicely with what you're looking to do here and hopefully looking to be part of on this journey. So really happy to be here and thank you for having me.
That's great, Aaron, and it resonates with me. Our whole North Star metric at Fourth Rev is career outcomes, our learner outcomes. And it's amazing, now that we've been running career accelerators for quite some time, exactly that job satisfaction that we achieve in hearing the continued outcomes that our learners achieve. Thanks for that. Johnny, welcome, and thank you also.
Thanks, Daniel. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I also from CIM. My role is not too dissimilar to Aaron's, but essentially I'm learner partnership manager, which means I manage a lot of the university relationships and our educational partners on a global scale. Again, working sort of internally with the various different departments across membership, qualifications, accreditation, and content creators as well, and even marketing, obviously. Which means that it gives me a nice kind of broad kind of overview of what we need to do in marketing, where the skills gaps are, and critically how we can serve our partners going forward. My main passion really, not just with CIM, but even when I worked in academia previously, it's about boosting employability, and I think it's something that universities in particular are spending a lot of money and time and effort to do these days. I think increasingly we're seeing that move into different spaces as well. It's really exciting to see what's happening with this program and see that is resonating as well. And kind of leading on to that, with my passion being around employability boosting, I created something called the employability framework, employability program framework, and that's something we've been working really closely with Fourth Rev to kind of integrate and look at the program that we're discussing today. So it's exciting to see that there are things in there that are going to give people practitioner experience, and I'm going to be excited to kind of dip into that a little bit more deeper.
Looking forward to it, and thank you ever so kindly. We've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to jump into the next slide quite quickly, and let's paint the picture, I guess, of where we're at. So we are at a pivotal moment in the marketing industry, and according to LinkedIn's economic graph, as you can see, digital marketing roles have grown 38% year on year. That is a staggering signal that demand is accelerating and fast because it is an ever-changing environment. What's more, 3 out of 5 job listings or related job listings now specifically require AI skills. That's no longer a nice to have, it's a new baseline that's occurring. for professionals thinking about entering or repositioning yourself in marketing, this is a rare window and a great opportunity. One where the demands for skills outpaces the supply, and those who upskill now will quite literally lead tomorrow. So let's explore how this market shift is showing up in real world contexts, from industry to academia and classroom, and how you can use this momentum to your advantage. My first question for the esteemed panel is for Jill. With the pace of change that we're seeing across digital marketing, how are these shifts showing up in the needs and motivations of learners, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's a really key point, Daniel. I think, you know, coming from, you know, a somewhat traditional academic background, how we tend to deal with learners is taking students that perhaps are looking for a conversion course, perhaps they've studied history or computer science and now want to gain some of this knowledge and skills to help them move into digital marketing. So classically, the way we would deal with that is design a master's sort of conversion course. But what we're really becoming more and more aware of is that, you know, there are particular challenges that learners are facing. They face them in traditional academia, but also in the workplace, trying to balance work and, you know, earning an income, living in expensive cities, with studying and progressing their career. And it's how do you help people manage those often conflicting challenges. So I think when we considered the design of this course, for sure, it's a part-time course. It's very flexible in terms of how you can arrange your study time. There are particular, you know, check-in points along the way. Of course, there's some really interactive live sessions, but there's also the opportunity to interact asynchronously, dropping a question into Circle, getting some feedback from one of the facilitators on the course. So really sort of managing that dichotomy of having to work and study at the same time is something that we really understand. I particularly understand it because when I moved from my industrial career into wanting to become an academic, I was studying and working at the same time. So that requires a whole bunch of commitment, effort, time management, prioritizing. Most of all, showing up, I think. Where the magic really happens, and I mentioned it earlier, is where you work as a collective with peers that are working in different industries, different sectors, different countries even, and really gaining some insight to be able to widen your perspective a little bit. So actually showing up and coming to those live sessions and engaging with the materials is going to be key to the study. So whilst you know, we do everything that we can. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever worked for a program where there is so much scaffolding around the learners. We have success managers, we have lead facilitators that are working in industry now, working with clients and facing some of the challenges that, you know, we're going to hear about with AI and those sorts of things. I think one of the other things that learners are looking for is a really credible, meaningful qualification. So they want to study part-time, but they want that qualification to be credible, which obviously as part of the LSE, I think we have that incredible brand, that incredible heritage, and of course lots of this, the design of this course has that sort of academic rigor built into it. So we've got that credibility, but also I think learners are looking for a qualification that helps them stand out in a really competitive job landscape. And so I really hope that credibility of the LSE brand really helps with that. And I think finally, the things that we're seeing is the requirement for some confidence in such a fast changing, dynamic, you know, volatile, you know, complex world that we live in. Having some stability, coming into a learning situation and being able to ask questions, ask about how these ideas impact in different situations, I think really gives our learners confidence to take this knowledge, take these skills, take them back into the workplace, take them into interviews, and really demonstrate, you know, the commitment they've made to their career by studying. I'm happy to talk about, you know, other elements like to do with the curriculum and those sorts of things. But I think we're going to come on perhaps and talk about that in a moment. So if there's anything I've missed out, feel free to, I could talk for
I think you've
hours.
touched on, thanks, Jill. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. And just for the audience benefit, it is a true collaboration between LSE and industry when we design the content. So the content that you do study and the learning that you obtain is in high demand from an employer perspective. And congratulations also, Jill. The university was recently announced as well, the ranking and the prestige obviously improved, but also is a reason to celebrate. I was in a webinar the other day with one of your peers, and we discussed that too. I've got a question for, I'll go with Johnny first. You can tell me who's best to answer this one, but from CIM's perspective, what are you seeing across the industry in terms of what employers expect from marketers today? Why is professional recognition such as the CIM membership or chartered status becoming more important to people wanting to progress or break into the field?
Yeah, I think we can both handle this, but I'll have a stab at the first part of that. So it's great to hear what you guys are talking about. I think as I kind of started this conversation about employability, this is what we're talking about here. This is about giving some people the tools and the capability to do what's needed and expected of employers in modern society. And it's great to hear. But I think what we need to kind of really have a think about is doing something a little bit different as well. And that's because, as we talked about, the market is saturated. Not in a way that means that there aren't opportunities, because we're seeing more jobs advertised with marketing and advertising and business related functions than ever. So that's great. It's great for us. It's great for you, but it does mean it's competitive. So just to put that into context, we've got about 600,000 students coming through with a business degree year on year in the UK. I realise we're talking potentially to a global audience here, but just to give some numbers around that and what that means. So it means that graduates that are coming through really have to have a point different, stand out from the crowd. And that's kind of what Jill talked about. And a great way of doing that is by engaging with the industry that you want to get into. And obviously, if you've got an interest in marketing, it makes sense to engage with CIM, who are effectively the conduit between industry and academia. We bring all that together. So we understand what's needed from industry, and then we pump that into academia and help people create the provisions and the learning and the content that's required, that's going to equip people to do what's needed. And in terms of what CIM can bring to that, we've got lots of content in terms of things that work towards CPD, so continually professional development. And even just to stand still today, I think Jill kind of alluded to that, even to stand still today, you have to constantly stay up to speed with what's happening. I know there's going to be some conversations around AI and general digital skills and things like that. But even things like sustainability in marketing now is really prevalent. And so these are all new things. And yesterday's marketers need to stay just as fresh as the ones that are going to come through in the next few years. So what we're seeing is that absolutely employers are looking for practitioner-led capabilities. They want to see people that can do the job, not just have a certificate that says they can do that. And that means that you have to have opportunities to engage in practical experience, essentially being able to implement what you learn in a practical sense. And when I looked at this program, I was really excited by it because it's kind of woven all the way through that, and deliberately so. And it's really great and exciting to kind of work through that. And sorry to keep throwing numbers and stats at people, but we did some research recently, and having looked at a bunch of employers that we work with, we tend to survey the top chief marketing officers around the world, and they give us some really good insights. And 47% of people that we surveyed said that having a CIM qualification in addition to a degree is something that is attractive and something that we're seeing more of in job descriptions these days and job applications. Now, I'm not suggesting that you have to go down that route, but that's just to give some context that employers are expecting more. They don't just want people to have a degree. They want people to be able to hit the ground running what you've got to think about is they're making an investment in you. So how do you prove to them that you can be that good investment? And of that survey as well, around a third of the chief marketing officers or directors of marketing in the UK were saying that chartered marketer or CIM qualification is something that they have. So you can see here how those at the top are going to cascade and start to expect that to come through in their workforce when they're looking to recruit. Aaron, anything to add to that?
Yeah, of course, and I fully agree with you, especially around that kind of practicality and transferable skills. The angles that I'll probably approaching the answer from are twofold. One, my work that I do, kind of dealing with brands, I'm integrated with them, understanding the challenges, speaking with those CMOs from some really large household names. And part of the work that we do is we go in, we understand kind of where their challenges are, where they want to be, what their aspirations are. And quite a common project that we'll implement in terms of training consultancy is usually taking what can be a really niche specific, almost siloed group of marketers. You've got your specialists in digital, but not just digital. You've got your PPC, you've got your email marketers, and it's taking them and kind of bringing them back up to a higher level of digital across the board. We need them to have a core concept and underpinning of what makes good digital marketing. And that's for everyone. That's kind of for your seniors, for your juniors, for your mid-level managers. We need that consistency across an organization. And something like this, giving you kind of practical skills to, like you say, hit the ground running, it is really important. And I can almost address it from a personal perspective as well. I say I've worked at CIM twice, and that gap in between was me kind of making my effort to get into marketing. I gave it a crack about probably about 13 years ago now. So I decided I wanted to be a marketer. I started applying for roles, and I hit a brick wall essentially. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have a qualification. I couldn't, show that I had the ability and the skills to work in a role. So it quickly, it showed me that I didn't have kind of what I needed to get into those kind of roles. And working for CIM, I was lucky enough to take one of our qualifications. So just by having that on my CV and saying I'm studying towards a professional qualification that has that gravitas, has that recognition globally, it opened doors for me. And I'm not saying kind of it will be as quick as that for anyone else, but it meant I got interviews. It meant that I was able to evidence that I have some commitment towards something kind of greater and bettering myself. And that was kind of what I lead to landing my first role in marketing. And it didn't work out for me. It turns out that I wasn't really cut out for that world. I wanted to get back to speaking with people, developing relationships with clients. So I ended up moving back, but it was definitely what I attribute to moving into that world. And I think it was the fact that I could demonstrate kind of the commitment. And I think if you peel back the lid on what CIM is and what these kinds of recognized programs are, it shows that real life application. I think that can be a bit of a difficult gap to bridge from university to the workplace. It's not just theory, it's not knowing how to do it, it's kind of knowing how to walk the walk as well. I have the practical skills, I can put them into place, and I can start making a change from day one. So yeah, that would kind of be my stance on it.
Wonderful, thank you. And all of that wrapped up into what I guess is a great segue into what the actual program contains and delivers next. When we consulted industry, one of the non-negotiables was exactly what you all touched on, that impact. It's not so much examinations, it's practical portfolios of evidence. So that's woven into, but in addition, there's the employer project that I'll touch on now as well. So there are 3 courses that make up the program and 1 live industry facing project at the end. Course 1, the essence of digital marketing, runs for 6 weeks. Then you'll do data-driven digital marketing strategies and campaigns, again for 6 weeks with no exams in any of these programs. You instead build your portfolio as you go. And course 3 is impactful digital marketing leadership. So it's perfectly tailored not only for those looking to transition into the field, but for those in the field looking to upskill and fill the gaps with the changing dynamics that we've all explained already. Your learning outcomes then enable your participation in a live industry-facing project at the end. To frame that quickly, yourself along with 5 or 6 other high caliber learners will meet with one of our employer partners, such as Nestle or a brand such as that, who will give you a real scenario in which to then take away as a team and work on as a project over a 6-week period, applying the learning from those 3 courses, presenting your findings and recommendations and innovations back to the client, if I can call them that, in a consultancy style presentation at the end, in which you'll get direct feedback from that employer. The benefits of that are numerous in the sense that it is practical application of learning in the real world. It is a brilliant opportunity of networking more deeply with your peers, the variety and diversity of which Jill has touched on already. And it is a much more powerful demonstration of your value to a prospective employer to mention how you've had that experience, or that you're expanding on your existing experience with a brand such as that as well, and the impact that your project and scope of or outcomes may have. As you can see, it's also 100% online, obviously. It is a commitment though. It's rigorous. It's an LSE program, so it's 16 to 20 hours a week, but it is designed to fit in with you more so than you fit in with university schedules or timetables. There are live sessions delivered by the industry-based facilitator each week that are recorded if you can't attend live, but always in your best interests and experience to attend live to engage and hear what other learners are asking. But the rest is asynchronous, meaning that you can choose, how it fits around with your other priorities. There's also the most important aspect, and I can touch on this more deeply as we go, but the AI learning track. It is a quintessential now part of the program where you have 4 hands-on masterclasses led by an AI expert, so ensuring that and those insights that you receive in the digital badge is the most up-to-date AI insights that is available, because it's coming straight from an industry expert. So teaching learners to integrate AI tools and thinking into real-world marketing strategies, building the capabilities employers are already demanding, and shaping ever so quickly the tools in which are becoming onto market and available to you as well. What that all brings together, though, is a really comprehensive career accelerator that is designed for exactly that, to accelerate your career but provide the skills that employers are seeking. Jill, as the head facilitator on the program, how is the curriculum shaped, in your opinion, to reflect what marketers need to succeed, particularly around data, AI, and digital strategy?
Sure. When you present the program, the way you present it, you can see the intensive and deep nature of it. And I don't want that to feel too overwhelming, because as I mentioned earlier, I don't think I've ever worked on a program where there is so much scaffolding and support and thought gone into progressing you from one step to the next. So we talked about, the program design. We start off with a course that leads to an assessment on the essence of digital marketing. So that really starts to bring in lots of the very foundational and basic ideas. So that can bring, if you're not currently working in this field, you want to work in this field, you're hoping to bring transferable skills into this field, we can help to level everyone up within that first course. It is rigorous, and from day one, we've designed the program so that we give you opportunities to learn and practice ideas that then directly feed into your final assessment. So we're not going to give you a bunch of homework to do that's completely irrelevant. The other thing I want to talk about is progression. So we've designed this program for the first course to be that kind of foundational, quite basic course that can bring everyone up to a level. But then quite quickly we add in extra, if you like, learning outcomes, intended learning outcomes that take you quite rapidly through the other courses. So again, one of the ideas behind this, and the guys have talked a lot about hitting the ground running, employability, those sorts of things. the closest we can get to giving you the opportunity to practice these ideas and concepts is by situating them in a simulation. So we have designed almost real world case studies that you're going to be given data on. You're going to face challenges from those simulations, and you're going to work through those. Those are going to be individual assessments, and you get a lot of feedback and support from weekly through the live sessions, but also on particular assessment sessions. Now, what we've done is we've done a little bit of innovation, and we've created feedback and feed forward sessions. So what we do is, prior to you submitting an assessment, we make sure you're completely clear on the requirements. We give you lots of resources enabling you to do really well. But what we also do is, now we have, I think this is our 8th presentation of this course. We have some back history now. We know the sorts of things that learners may struggle with, and so we can give you that feed forward prior to submitting a module. It's a bit like for the Chartered Institute of Marketing, they'll have some examiners reports which say, what did that last cohort do well or better? We do that, and we're doing that constantly. So we want you to progress through from that foundations into the situated. That one's about a fashion business, Eco Glam, that we've developed, into the second one, which is data-driven digital marketing strategies and campaigns. That one's focused on online banking, neo-banking. And again, we've got a whole deck's worth of information, of data, of monitoring and evaluation of their current campaigns, so you can play around with that data and you can put forward your best evidence-based recommendations. We talked a bit about leadership, and it reminds me that we have learners from across the spectrum of marketeers, those with very little direct experience, all the way up to those that are in leadership positions. And so I've always found it's a sort of an element that's sometimes missing is, certainly when I was in my career, I sort of had a very rapid transition. I worked at Sky and a firm which is now Cable and Wireless Communications. And because I happened to be quite good at my job, I got promoted away from those day-to-day things to actually managing others to do that. And so we're really cognizant of the fact that, it may well be that you're going to lead a team to facilitate these changes, these innovations through others. And so how do you go about doing that? How do you go about selecting a team? How do you go about operationalizing a strategy? And so that's really firmly embedded in the third assessment, which is impactful digital marketing and leadership. And I just wanted to mention as well one more part of that, because we've talked about AI, the thread of AI, which, obviously, firms are struggling with, how do we use AI for efficiency, for content creation, for market research, for e-commerce and chatbots, and how can it do some of the heavy lifting for us so that us marketeers can focus on perhaps some of the really important strategic issues around building authentic relationships with our customers. But I just wanted to mention, saying that third assessment, that we have our learners consider implementing an innovation within their business. So that also gets them having a look at evaluating new innovations. How could that apply to their business? And in that assessment, you get to choose which business you want to focus on. So we're sort of, again, progressing you from at the beginning, providing a very clear outline and case scenario, all the way up to you starting to use some of your skills and knowledge to apply to a firm of your choice. And as Daniel mentioned, the final assessment is the employer project. It's the most delightful part, where you then take all this knowledge, all of these skills that you've built and progressively improved over those 3 assessments, into the final assessment, and then you work together as a group. So you'll bring together your individual strengths and weaknesses, different perspectives, different comfort zones, and you'll be really making recommendations on a real live business challenge. And I've had the absolute privilege to sit in on some of those presentations and to see how you guys take a brief, take on board all of this stuff that we've been working with you on, and come up with some really creative, compelling, persuasive recommendations that are all backed up by evidence data. So, I really think the curriculum, we're constantly keeping it up to date. What I want to mention as well is sort of backbone behind this, and Daniel's mentioned this collaboration between LSE and Full Thread to build this program. That means that we have access to cutting edge research from LSE. We have our lead facilitators who will be guiding you through these courses, who are currently working in industry, who are currently facing the challenges that you hope to go on and have in your roles in digital marketing. And of course, those masterclasses, which I think really give us an opportunity to, if you like, tailor and personalize the teaching content based on what's the latest big thing. And the industry is constantly changing, and so being able to bring in someone to deliver a masterclass on the latest thing really gives us a flexibility in our curriculum. So we have these courses that you progress through, but we also have that spine of masterclasses as well. I'm not sure whether, again, I've covered everything that I was meant to, but I've probably spoken for too long. Yeah, any questions on the curriculum, please feel free to put them in the chat.
Good reminder, Jill. For everyone, please do pop your questions. I'll get to them if you can pop them in the Q&A section. What it might be also good to do is, if the participants or the audience in the chat function, if you can give us one word what you're seeking. Are you seeking to commence your career in marketing, change your career into marketing, or advance your career in your current role? So are you looking to commence or start? Are you looking to change, or are you looking to advance? Pop that in the chat, and that will help us understand a little bit more about the audience as well. I've got some questions and I'm conscious of time as well, but before we move on, and I'm going to touch on the career coaching aspect in a moment too. It's a really, I guess it's a cornerstone also of the value of proposition that we've built into the program. I'll touch on that in a moment. But Aaron, first this time, as a part of the process of awarding the Career Accelerator the employability program status from CIM, you had a chance to review the curriculum and structure in depth. Could you share what stood out about the LSE's Career Accelerator and why it met your standards for employability?
I think I'll hand this one over to Johnny, as he was really key and pivotal in getting this set up. So if you don't mind, Johnny, I'll throw you into the spotlight there.
No worries, that's fine. Yeah, so I was the one who looked at the curriculum. So yeah, it's only fair that I answer this one. But before I answer the question, it's worth pointing out that the program is one of only 12 programs that's got the CIM employability program status, and it's the only non-degree program in the world with this status. So it's a real good accolade, and it's an important step for everybody involved. But just to give some context about what the program is about and why we designed employability program. Essentially, we were hearing from employers that graduates and people that were undertaking courses just weren't fit for purpose, and that led to some research that we undertook, and that research led to us developing a framework which is there and to guide people to understand the right skills, knowledge, and behaviours to implement across their programs. And quite often they're already there, but people were hiding behind a phrase that I absolutely hate, which is soft skills. And I think that people and we have the opportunity to change that narrative and push some of those transferable capabilities forward. So what Jill's describing here, what I've seen in the program, is absolutely in there, and that's why we were able to give that award. I'm going to give a couple of examples of what really stood out in there. And naturally, the whole program is great. Otherwise, it wouldn't have achieved that status. But just to give some examples, communicating is something that we saw that stood out really, really strongly, and that's because learners are consistently able to demonstrate both two and one-way communication, both formally and informally. And that includes the Q&A sessions that Jill's alluded to there, but also that structured peer discussion as well, and tailored message design. I'm going to read a little bit about what some of the judges put as part of that feedback as well. So the integration of storytelling, strategic explanation, and visual communication is particularly strong. And another one that stood out is problem solving. Problem solving being something that employers will love you for if you're able to save them time, save them money, fail fast, that kind of thing. So it's really important that problem solving stood out in there as well. And the program, so again, what the judges fed back on is that the program embeds critical thinking and risk awareness analysis across all courses. Learners repeatedly engage and identify real-world challenges. They get to analyse causes and propose data-informed, impactful solutions with well-reasoned justifications. Now that might sound really wordy and quite academic, but this is how we assess. But I think Daniel pointed out earlier about impact. Absolutely, impact is critical to marketing. It's critical to the way that CIM structures itself now in terms of everything that we do. We feel that the content that we provide, the way we teach people and get them to learn, and critically how the industry responds has to have impact. So yeah, impact is, I completely agree, Daniel, that is really, really important in there. But in addition to highlighting those 2 points, and it'd be unfair not to kind of delve into a little bit more, learners also get the opportunity to practice and develop and present their skills. And they get to look at, work on things like ability to change. So that's about being flexible. That's really important in a dynamic world. We get to collaborate, so work in teams and support each other. Be creative as well, be innovative, and develop things like financial literacy. Financial literacy in terms of understanding how you can have an impact on an organisation, but also kind of planning some of those activities that you might undertake. They might have a cost, but they might have a return on investment. So it's that kind of thing as well. But also enterprising capabilities. So those are the things that we look for, and those are the things that really stood out across the program. And I'm delighted to say we were able to give the employability program status as a result.
Love it, and that shows the rigor that goes into that. And I wasn't aware that it's the only non-degree bearing program, although it is aimed at postgraduate level. So I realised that. I'm quite impressed and a little bit chuffed. I'm going to touch on an additional support that we offer, because it is critical when you're making this amount of investment, and I'll touch on that in a moment, that you obtain the maximum return on your educational investment that is possible. We do that not only through everything that we've mentioned already, but we also do it through assigning you a career coach and a whole career coaching program that's embedded within the course as well. So during orientation, you'll meet with your career coach one-on-one, and they'll again meet with you monthly one-on-one to not only help design and understand your intended outcomes. When I say design, you set those goals, but help you execute a strategy to achieve them sooner, hence the term Career Accelerator. Those one-on-one sessions are, I won't be overly dramatic and say life-changing, but if no one's had a career coach before, and these are executive-style career coaches, they will help you not only showcase these skills that you obtain throughout the Career Accelerator, but highlight what is equally as valuable in many, many cases, which is your transferable skills. Regardless of your previous experience, employers value transferable skills. So those career coaching sessions go through each month throughout the program. And we learn as an organisation as well, and realise that many people are looking to embed the learning throughout the program and then apply for roles after. So we've extended the career coaching aspect for another 6 months beyond the end of the program, should you require it. And that for us is all about our North Star metric, which is enabling you to achieve your intended career outcome. They're innovative. It's not just about your resume. This is a professional career coach that will dive into values, aligning like organizations and roles with your values. Sometimes saying no to a role that you might put up as an option because of what you've mentioned previously about values. It is an in-depth process and structured program that you go through of career coaching, enabling you to get the most out of your investment as well. In addition to what the CIM program provides, that we'll touch on a little bit more. I'm going to, we've got some questions coming through, and please don't forget to pop the questions in the Q&A. We're going to post a link in the chat now from a story from one of our alumnus, Sophia, who's really an inspiring story in herself, and we recommend that you go and have a look from at that post, because she's gone from employer branding and recruitment to now marketing executive as a result of not only the skills learnt throughout the Career Accelerator, but certainly that coaching as well. If we can go to the next slide, I'm conscious of time and I want to get to the questions. One of the most powerful aspects of the program is the recognition it carries, not just in this case, obviously from LSE, who are so globally recognised, but also from the Chartered Institute of Marketing, or CIM, as you know. The program has been awarded that employability program status as we've gone through, and to know that it's one of the only non-award bearing programs, or is the only one, is amazing. But your learning in the program counts towards CPD hours. So you're building momentum towards a status from day one. Who'd like to answer this one, I guess, Aaron or Johnny? For learners who are thinking more long-term about their credibility, their brand and growth in the industry, how does this program help set them on the path to becoming a chartered marketer, and what does a journey typically look like?
Yeah, I can take this one, as it's something I kind of deal with in my day to day. And the short answer is it's a perfect start. I think we've touched on some really important points around kind of the value of that practical skill base you're going to take away from this program. The clients I deal with, when we're talking about building a really impactful team for some global brands, it's practical skills, and all the training that we build for them, whatever it ends up being, always ties back to a project, a real life scenario that is going to mean something. And that's kind of what you've gone through in this 6-month program yourselves, if you do go onto it. So I think that's the first point to make. You're gaining really good skills from this. But I think the challenge you'll have beyond studying is what's next in your career. What are the challenges you're going to face as you go through your marketing career? And perhaps that's where CIM can come in and support with our membership. So for anyone who isn't aware, that the membership with CIM is really kind of a one-stop shop to loads of content, support and frameworks, and a wider network and community of all things marketing. And it's really designed to help people throughout any part of their career, whether they're starting out for the first time looking to get into marketing, all the way through to CMOs that have been in the game kind of 20 years plus. That there's something for everyone. And I think it all comes down to keeping yourself fresh, keeping yourself topped up to date, sharp, however you want to refer to it. And that's what we would supply. So, I mean, using some examples of maybe some individuals and where they are in their career. Let's say you're looking to, I've seen it in the chat, a few people looking to start their career or get into marketing. We can give you kind of like lots of how-to guides of how to do all sorts of marketing activity the CIM certified way. A challenge people can often find is they'll go on Google and how to do a marketing plan or how to brief an agency. You get about 15 conflicting views on how to do that. We'll give you that CIM certified way of doing that activity. So you're never going to go wrong at all. Something we also offer, which I think ties nicely into that career coaching piece, is I think you get that for a period of time after studying. One of the inclusions of our membership is mentorship as well. So that can be a continued support network that you can take through your career, where we would match you with a really senior part of our membership community who's kind of been there, done that, seen it all. And you can meet with them to kind of guide those next steps of your career, whether it's making a move into a new role or how to navigate a challenge in the workplace. We can continue that support throughout the rest of your career should you want to. And in terms of the more senior marketers going kind of middle, people that are maybe pivoting slightly, or people that are experienced and just need the skills, there's loads of content that we'll send out monthly in the form of webinars that can keep you up to date on the newest technologies and trends. AI, we've done a ton of webinars on all the specific nuances of AI, and we get some really good attendance, people that are hungry to learn what's new and what's out there, and how to keep sharp. So membership within itself is really important. It's a real good hub of activity and content and knowledge. But where it starts to become a bit more powerful, and we've alluded to it on this slide, is working towards becoming a chartered marketer. Now, I'm aware people might not know what that is, so I'll give you a bit of context. Chartered marketer is kind of the highest level of membership, or the highest accolade that CIM can offer, and we're the only body able to give that status, given our chartered status ourselves. So it really represents a couple of things. So by being a member with us, you do have the option to upgrade your membership status to a higher level based on your experience. So it recognizes that you've done that, and you've been in the game for maybe a couple of years, a year or so. But cross with that is the fact that you've kept yourself up to date, and that can be done by our CPD program. So we've mentioned CPD a couple of times, and it stands for Continued Professional Development. This program that you're studying counts towards a year of CPD on our CPD program. And what you would do is, at the end of your membership year with us, you would evidence that you've kept yourself up to date as a marketer, and that would be this course. Send it to us, ACIM, or studied this qualification or this program. We would review that and give you a certification to confirm that you have kept yourself up to date as a marketer. So this course within itself is going to give you further recognition from CIM to confirm that you are up to date, you've kept your skills sharp. And where that becomes really powerful is if you do that for 2 years consistently with us on our membership, we can award you that chartered status. And like I said, it's a recognition that you're committed, and you want to keep yourself sharp. I think we've all seen people in our working lives, I'm sure, that maybe qualified 10, 15 years ago, but they're relying on skills they've had. And we've alluded to in this conversation, marketing doesn't stand still. There's always new technologies, there's always new ways of working, there's new trends. And it's really our job as CIM to ensure that the profession is keeping itself up to date. And that's what we're trying to give you as part of this. So I think, to summarize, you've started a great journey if you get part of this program, but there's so much more you can do with us in partnership. So we're really excited to help guide you through that journey.
Brilliant, Aaron. Thank you. And for attendees as well, you'll see here that we've got an early enrolment offer for the upcoming intake in October. Unlock Funded will support you with 1 year of membership, be validated and commence that pathway that Aaron's mentioned. We've got 10 placements available, and that will close on the 31st of August, or when the 10 spots are taken. Sam's just popped in the chat also a link to commence your application. The application criteria is that you've completed a relevant degree or have an equivalency of professional experience. I'm going to get quickly to some of the audience questions now, but it just involves you uploading transcripts of your previous studies, resume, and your identity document, or and also having a chat with your enrolment advisor. So if you haven't spoken with your friendly enrolment advisor yet, please do so. There's a link to do so, and they'll guide you either through the process, answer any specific questions to yourself you may have, and be there to support that application as well. The fees for the program are £6,300, everything included. That is all of the content, all of that career coaching, and for the 10 placements of the CIM membership as well. There is a fee consideration of £475 if you do pay up front, or we have interest-free payment plans to make that more accessible to you as well. Again, speak with your enrolment advisor if you can. I'm going to get to some questions quickly, and I'll stick around longer if there's more questions as well, but I'm aware that we're almost at time. Sarah asks, and thank you, Sarah, for your engagement. Thank you, everyone, for your engagement. Is there an option to extend the learning period longer than 6 months? There's not, if you are looking to complete within one continuous process or progress. The reason for that is there are due dates for your assignment and project submissions, but you're working as a part of a genuine cohort of learners together where you will arrive at that industry project together. If there's a situation where, I don't know, you have a planned medical procedure, you can speak with your success manager about deferring a course potentially, but it would depend on circumstance. Generally, no, you'll work through together as a cohort. We also deliver content from the facilitators each week relevant to that particular module or that portion of the unit or course. So you've got to keep up with that as well. So there is a timetable. There is sacrifices to be made in the sense that it is rigorous, but there is a time commitment. So maybe speak to those around you that may be impacted by you having to say no to a new Netflix series well, for the next 6 months or so as well. Just those little sacrifices that need to be made. Jill.
I would just pop in that, life happens and stuff goes wrong, and maybe you end up being put on a project that means you can't allocate the time. There is an element of flexibility for real challenging problems that would impact your ability to do well in the program. It doesn't happen very often, but I don't want you to think that we're going to force you through if some kind of life-changing event has happened.
Exactly. Sarah's got another question. I'm looking at various options at the moment. Good on you, Sarah. So you should as well. One of them is which the CIM Level 6 Diploma in Professional Digital Marketing. Why should I choose the Career Accelerator over that one? I don't know. I don't. Who'd like to tackle that one?
I think you would get different answers from different people. Clearly, there's a conflict of interest because we both offer programs that are commercially driven. But my answer to that really is that they are different in length and they're different in style. So choose your learning style and choose your preference in terms of the content. Have a think about perhaps the skills gaps that you have and where you want to go, and then almost work backwards. I noticed, I think that came from, is it Sarah or? I noticed you'd also put that you were going to be a career advancer. So clearly you work in marketing as well. So have a think about what you're looking to advance into, look at that module content and perhaps make that decision. Otherwise, we're going to end up in a shootout on here trying to get the business. And I don't think that's the right format to do it.
It's not,
When I don't know, go. Sorry, Jill.
I was just going to say, I did the PG diploma many years ago, and I have strong affiliations with Sim, so that I'm not going to be going into that shootout. But what I would say is you kind of get the best of both worlds working with LSE and Sim. You get that accreditation, that support that they talked about in terms of ongoing support for your career. But I think that as Daniel mentioned, the key is in the word accelerator. So, and have a look at Sophia, who I worked with, her kind of discussion of her story, and see if that mirrors the sort of aspirations that you have.
Wonderful.
One
Thank you.
One thing to add to that as well is that the level 6 program with CIM is an entire award. Each module within that is an individual award as well. So it may be that you do both. It may be that you pick and choose and create something that is a nice playbook, a nice playlist of attributes and capability that you think you need to progress. So don't think of CIM qualifications as a full award. You can actually chunk them down as well.
Thank
Can
you.
I just say one more very quick thing, Daniel? I know we're almost out of time, but the Final Employer project gives you this ability to practice everything you've learned in a real life business scenario. What it enables you to do is then take forward that learning into interviews quite quickly. We used to talk about this when we'd have 9-month masters rather than a year's masters. You can be out in 6 months' time talking about the challenges you faced. What were the difficulties that you had? How did you overcome those? And those are the sorts of things that employers want to hear about.
Wonderful. Thank you. And you're spot on. Jamila's asked, imagine you've got 10 years experience in sales and now want to get into marketing. Would this be someone early in their career or help them make the switch? I've also worked as a consultant. Absolutely. It is the majority of our learners are looking to transition their careers into marketing or advance their careers. And as you've seen, some commence. So it wouldn't be unusual to have a marketing director in the cohort, along with someone that is moving from sales into marketing, for example, and everyone in between as well. And that's part of the beauty of it, is the diversity of the people that you not only network with, but also engage with and learn from potentially as well. Samantha's asked, is it possible to obtain a master's or doctorate in strategic marketing design at LSE for foreigners? Jill, I'll let you say yes or no to that one in one word answer, if that's right. Thank you, Samantha, though, for your input.
There is. You need to apply through the normal channels.
Wonderful, thank you. Joseph's asked, what academic qualifications do you need to take part in this course, if any? Related, isn't it, Jill, or relevant work experience that can be assessed?
Definitely. What we are looking for is that you have some experience of business, because there is a lot of really basic stuff in the original foundation course, but you need to have some kind of business acumen. You need to understand, we've talked about return on investment, that if you're going to make recommendations, they're going to be backed up by theory, data, or examples. But yes, if you've got transferable skills that come in from another bit of employment that you've worked on, it's perfectly possible for you to do well on this course.
Fantastic. And someone's asked, is this only available to graduates or those not studying at university currently? No, but speak with your enrolment advisor. So again, if Sam can put that link in, book a time with your friendly enrolment advisor. They're not going to do anything other than ask you questions and decipher what's best for you. So please do that. It's the best next step. And I'll round it off there as well. It is an absolute pleasure to have an audience today that were so engaged first and foremost, but a panel that was so insightful in articulating the benefits of the program. For the audience, it's now about the next step and making that commitment to yourself around investigating further or making that decision to go ahead with the benefits that we've outlined, especially with the CIM membership that is available to you. That won't be available for everyone. It's only a limited opportunity that we have made available, and I'm really, really pleased and excited about the partnership with CIM. Jill, thank you for your insights. You're a guru in the sense that your marketing prowess is part of the reason that this program is so successful, and the passion that you have for it is evident in everything that you've said today. I much appreciate your time. Aaron and Johnny also, thank you kindly, and Sam in the background. It's brilliant to be working with CIM, and your insights both helped us understand more about the value of that, but also the prospects of what can occur further down the track as well.
Thank you for having us.
My absolute pleasure. Take the next step, make the commitment to yourself. And I often finish by saying, we look forward to welcoming, supporting, and celebrating your success in the Career Accelerator. I'll let you think about that for a while, and we look forward to certainly receiving your application or speaking with your enrolment advisor. Thank you all. As always, thank you in the background, Sam, for putting the event together. It's always our pleasure, and thank you for everyone in attendance today. Have a great day.
Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.